Hey, what's going on everyone? Big here for Serpent X Tech, and we are continuing trying to get systems working. This is my NAS, or my desktop, kind of turned into my Chia Flux node. So Chia Farmer, Flux node, and a bunch of other stuff, but unfortunately it's down due to a lightning strike, and my insurance is giving me a hard time about it, so this unit is not working. What's in here? Well, we had the ASRock Z390 motherboard, and I'm pretty sure it does not work, because even with a known working power supply, which is in there, it still will not power on. Even though the power supply is confirmed working by Geek Squad and myself, my insurance is giving a hard time. In here we got a mix of 10 terabyte, 12 terabyte, 16 terabyte Arsenal drives, just to give me plenty of storage, over 120 terabytes of storage. We also have an NVMe drive in there from ADATA. We even have a Micron enterprise grade NVMe SSD running off a U.2 adapter, an old school ATI HD, what is that, 7750, a little bit dusty, but old school graphics card, just needed video output, 9600K, so nothing too crazy, old school case, just needed to get it working. Well, what we're going to be doing is combining what is working in this, so hopefully the hard drives, the NVMe, the SAS controller, and moving the Ryzen 5900X and the motherboard into a new case. Now, I found this off of PC Part Picker. It's not exactly the best one, but we can have a lot of hard drives in here, which is the big reason why I got it. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out of the box so we can look around on it. But the main idea here is to take working parts. We won't be able to use the 7900 XT because it's too long, especially if the hard drive caddies are going to be right here. We might have to use a different GPU, but it probably won't be the HD 7750. We might use something else. Just combine take the motherboard CPU combo, leave the memory out, move that over into this case, and then take the hard drives and everything else and move that into this case, hopefully combining two systems into one. And then maybe we'll do a different video on the Z390 motherboard to see if we can find any actual physical damage in which my insurance is looking for a power surge. But that is the game plan. Let's see what this case is all about. This is the Classical Storage Master. I don't remember the brand, but I did find it off a PC Part Picker. It took me to Amazon, ordered it. It was only like 80 bucks, nothing too expensive. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, and by the way, I did get Unifans from Leon Lee. These are the daisy chainable one, or they just connect to each other, but nothing crazy. We already got enough RGB with everything that I'm going to be transferring over. We don't need anything else crazy. And plus, as you can see from the NAS, it was just, sleek, all blacked out, nothing too crazy. So we're going to continue that theme with the fans and this case. And here is the case. Nothing too crazy. Got a mesh dust filter up top, power reset, USB 3 Type A ports, one 3.0 speeds, and the front side's got good ventilation. We do have 3 fans pre-installed just to bring us good airflow into the system. No tempered glass on the side, but don't care about that. Just good airflow on the side here, so we got good ventilation. And then we're gonna have 2 hard drives per bay here, so that's 8 right there. And then we're gonna have the Leon Lee fans at the top here, and we have room for 2 more hard drives, not only right here but also on the back side, power supply bay, of course. And then on the back side, not a lot of cable management. We do have some cable channels, but nothing too extraordinary. I'm sure it's gonna be a mess back here. 2 2.5 SSDs, and then 2 more hard drives right down here at the bottom. I'm not sure if we can adjust these or move it around. Looks like we have a tab here to where we can do that, but if you got a big power supply, this hard drive caddy might be a concern. So we might need to figure out something about that. If my power supply is too big, this won't work, but I'm gonna go with my original power supply. Sounds like my son just died in his first-person shooter, but we got the Corsair CX750F, which Geek Squad said was dead, but it is not dead. We were able to confirm that. Again, it was the motherboard who got shocked and no longer powers on. But again, they did confirm with a different power supply of their own that the motherboard would not boot. So not sure why the insurance is giving me a hard time, but it looks like we can remove these hard drive caddies with screws on the backside. No easy mechanism to remove these things, unfortunately. No thumb screws or anything to remove the 2.5. So just a really old school case, steel body, nothing too fancy, but I don't need anything fancy. The front does pop off. It doesn't look like we have any mesh dust filtration, so we'll have to blow this out routinely. But we do have mesh filter on the top, and then also a mesh filter on the bottom of the power supply, but not like an easy pull out one, just one that slides in there. So again, the Classico is nothing, you know, too crazy as far as the elite cases out there. I really wanted a Silverstone case, the one that we saw at CES 2024, but it was just outside of my budget, and I'm on a time crunch and would like to get my Chia node, Flux node, and everything back up and running. So I'm gonna get to work on removing all this stuff, and I'll try to show you updates along the way as well as the finished product. We got some of the components out and chilling. Took out 2 hard drives because I wanted to test it out. Probably gonna still use these screws because they have a little bit of dampening to them, and this case doesn't have much like easy access. Corsair Vengeance DDR4 or Vengeance LPX DDR4. Here's my SAS card. Here is the ATI graphics card. Take a look at that old Sapphire card. And then the Micron Enterprise drive. This is the 7300 Pro. Connects via U.2, and then the motherboard adapter. And the reason I wanted to stop, I didn't show you much because it's basically unscrewing, removing components, but these caddies are all held in by 4 screws, so it's not easily swappable. But it does have a little lip that hangs onto it, so it doesn't just automatically fall, but then you got to lift it up and pull it out. So a bit of a pain. And it looks like we can mount the hard drives upside down or on the side here. I'm going to see which way works best for me. And honestly, I could probably put a 2.5 inch SSD on top of this if this is the top one, but we'll have to wait and see. So not, you know, easy removable trays. You wouldn't be able to put the hard drives in from this back side here, which is actually the front of the case, because this lip, as you can see all the way around, you have to come in from the reverse side, but you can't put it in the reverse side because there's a plate here. So could have done better, whoever made this case, Classico, but I'm not going to be swapping these out very easily. Ooh, we got a dent right here too. There's some quality checks that failed, but again, not going to be doing a lot of swapping these out or anything like that. So I'm going to mount the 2 hard drives in here right now. Here are the hard drives installed, but I really don't like a couple things. This lip, right, whatever this frame is that they're using to kind of hook the hard drive caddies into and then use 4 screws to hold it up, has a middle brace, right? So your SATA connector, especially when you have like a middle of the road SATA connector where you have 2 wires coming out of either side as a daisy chains, that's going to be very bulky to try to fit in there, and you don't want to break these connectors on the SATA. So they could have redesigned that. This could be a lot better. I might take a Dremel or my aluminum scissors, my gutter cutters, and just cut this out. Eventually that's going to be a very sharp edge, so I might have to figure out something. And then again here at the bottom, same thing. It's very tight, as you can see, looking at it head on. To try to fit that connector in there, it's going to be pushed up because of this lip. So they didn't really, you know, maybe they were thinking if you don't put your hard drives here, you could use it as a radiator mount, right? Because you got your screw sections right here, not where the screw is, but this little slot right here, right here, right here, right here, and then again right here and right here. But this was marketed to me as a 12 hard drive case. It looks like you could put maybe a few, you know, 2 120s right here, maybe a you know, a 240 rad or something like that right here, if you didn't have the hard drive bays. But it's not compatible, in my opinion, or very comfortable. We'll see when we plug in the connectors. But yeah, now it's time to move on to the motherboard. I'm gonna leave that alone for right now and move on to shutting down this system and moving everything over. But that might be the next day for me, but only a few seconds for you. Little PCB right here is sharp, so be careful. It's not the best quality. It's not the best quality, but it will be okay. We'll make it work with what we got. All right, we got everything in here. We got the unit fans up top, the X570 Tachi Razer motherboard with the 5900X, Thermalright Assassin 120. All the hard drives are plugged in. I will say that the design of this chassis could have been a little bit better, but budget option to hold 10, 12 hard drives was, I guess, the best way, even though these two hard drive caddies at the bottom can't be utilized. It kind of is like really tight down here, especially when we got to have the Micron Enterprise NVMe drive down here at the bottom. My flash just died as my phone is dying. But yeah, so everything is in here. We swapped out the ATI graphics card for an RTX 3060, either 3060 or 3060 Ti. I don't know. I just grabbed the card because obviously the 7900 XT that could fit in this chassis definitely will not fit in this chassis. We'll just hit the hard drive caddy, as you can see. So it can only support a certain length graphics card. So now it's just time to boot up, and unfortunately I'm probably gonna have to reset up RAID. So the data is done, but the main Flux node, the Chia wallet and all that setup, is just a matter of replotting everything. That's why the RTX 3060 or Ti is in here, because I can run and create those plots a lot faster with the hardware that we have in here. So now it's just a matter of turning this device on and making sure it boots, and on top of that, connecting it to my monitor here via DisplayPort adapter, so display port to VGA, and getting booted up and powering it on now. We got lights. We knew that the CPU, motherboard, and everything worked beforehand, but different memory and different everything else in a new case. Power button up here. I'm going to unplug the HDMI at the back of the PC and just go off the display port from the RTX card. And I'm not sure if you guys do, like I have a wireless keyboard and mouse, but whenever I'm dealing with a new system, especially because I got to get right into the UEFI, I always go direct USB plugged. Alright, we're booting up. We're going to want to make sure we hit our delete key as soon as possible, because we're going to need to, unfortunately, reset up our RAID configuration that we originally had. I'm hearing all the hard drives ticking. That's a good sign. No display out though. No boot. No keyboard lights. Oh boy. But the good news is the hard drives seem to be alive. Now I just got to diagnose the booting issue. We're getting a 97 on the debug LED. I did get the keyboard to show up, but it might not like the memory. Oh, 98, B4, there we go, A2, D6. I got the keyboard and mouse to show up. Numlock, okay. Maybe retrain the memory. Just gotta diagnose it and see what's going on bit by bit. Maybe it doesn't like the GPU being down there, but that's the only way I can get it to work, because that cord running from the SAS controller, the SAS card to the hard drives wasn't long enough. We're getting something. We're getting something. Alright, it's booting into Windows, but I do need to catch it and reset up my RAID. Devices are showing up, and we were able to boot right into Windows 10. That's what took it so long. Not only memory training, which I still need to check in the UEFI, but just the fact that it auto-detected devices. Just need to connect to internet and get some things updated. I might not have to reconfigure my configuration in RAID. It's picking it up. 60 terabytes here. 11, 11, 11, 11. It might have all my Chia plots, but I am missing, hang on, I'm missing my Micron Enterprise NVMe SSD for some reason. but it is picking up everything else. So now I got to figure out why this bottom drive is not being detected, and I'm wondering if it's turned off because of where I had the GPU in it. I wonder if I can move it up to that top slot that you guys see right there, and it would detect. It is a U.2 adapter, while this one needs a by 8 slot, which is usually, you know, by 16. I think that U.2 card would allow me to run off of by 4, or excuse me, by 1, which is what that connection is. But we'll see. It has a slit, as you can see in the back, so it could deal with a longer extension, but it would hit that chipset shield. You see the shield protecting the chipset? It would hit that or conflict. So I need to take that off and see if that will work. But the fact that it's showing all my drives, oh, that's so good. That's so good. We might be behind on Chia and Flux and a bunch of other stuff, but if I could just get this loaded up, let it resync, we might be good to go and not have to rebuild all my plots. CPU thermals are looking all right. Could be a little bit better, but I got to do some fan tuning now. Memory, believe it or not, is 3200 megahertz for 128 gigabyte, all 4 sticks. So that's actually not bad, considering. Just installing Windows updates, letting drivers like auto detect and everything on the system. But so far so good. Just need to get that Micron enterprise drive to load properly. And I want to keep an eye on the power draw on this particular machine, because we might be reaching the limits of the power supply that we have in here, which, as you can see, is the Corsair 750F. Now, I did do the math on this, and a 750 watt could handle it because I run everything much more efficient. Like, I'm not going to have the 5900X if I do end up CPU mining for whatever reason. It's not going to be doing 105 watts, 120 watts. It's going to be doing like 60, 65 watts. GPU, not going to be pushing it, not going to be mining with it. But yeah, every one of these, you know, 20 watts for each of the 8 drives, and everything else is going to be run efficiently. So we should be, you know, let's say 600-ish watts. This is an A+ gold certified power supply, so we should be fine. But yeah, let me continue tweaking and tuning, and we'll wrap up. And so far, so good. We got the memory clocking. I was getting a lot of blue screens of death because the memory clock was sitting at the old G-Skill Trident Z memory. So this was 1600 when it should be 3600, so 1800 times 2 or 1600 times 2 to equal the correct speeds. I'm even mining with the 3060. Not getting exactly where we should be. We should be around 21 kilohash on Zealous Hash, and all the drives are detected, even the Micron drive now. But I did mess up, and I didn't pay attention to where I installed the NVMe drive, because I plan on upgrading in the future. But all of our drives are detected, including the Micron enterprise drive, which is still at the bottom, and I need to keep an eye on those GPU temps, because you can see there's like barely any room between the bottom of that U.2 adapter and that 3060. But yeah, the fact that everything is up and running once I got into the UEFI, for some reason, because I can't run that SAS card down here where I want to, and the GPU up there, for some reason, when that SAS card is plugged in, it won't let me load into the UEFI or BIOS. So I have to unplug that, load into the BIOS, reset the memory, reset my clocks, reset the Infinity Fabric. But now we're good to go. Now I can close this up and let it eat. So we got the Chia node, or farmer, back up and running, fully synced up, as well as our Flex node up and running. And we're mining with our GPU, and maybe we'll mine with our CPU. Right now, thermals on the CPU are sitting around the high. Just ignore the high there. That was when I was doing some heavy workload. But 40 degrees Celsius, let's say 40 to 50, somewhere in there. I'm sure if I put it on eco mode, the 5900X will eat. I did get Ryzen Master loaded up here, so I'm going to play around with that. But the fact that everything is back up and running is a good thing. Able to set my clocks, and yeah, now I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this. That's a good power supply, so I'm going to figure out where we're going to go with that. I also have another good power supply over here. Seasonic 1200 watts, so 2 good power supplies. But yeah, that motherboard might be donezo. I might do some testing on it, tear off the IO shield, all of this armor on this side, the chipset armor, just take it all off, look around, see what's going on, see if we can't repair it if possible. Maybe send it to Matt Electron. Let me know in the comments if there's any repair guys out there that want to take a whack at this and see if they can get the ASRock Z390 and 9600K back up and running, because it'd be a good system for maybe my brother-in-law to have. But yeah, this case is probably going to be retired, as you can see from the age of it. And in this case, it's old school, but it still works, and it's plenty of room, plenty big enough. Definitely don't recommend anybody go out there and get this case, but it will work for my purposes. And that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for sticking around with me. So far, you know, we've just been going around Frankensteining all the various systems to see what we can get running, what we can't get running, report to the insurance, and hopefully the insurance will continue to work with us. I'll keep you guys posted, but as of right now, they weren't working with us, so we had to kind of take 3 systems, right? 1, 2, combine it into one, into a new case, and we're back up and running at least. That's always good news. All right, do me a favor on the way out. Hit the like button. Make sure to get subscribed. Hit the notification bell to stay up to date, as well as check out additional links in the description to help support the channel and what we do here. And I'll catch you in the next one. And don't worry, that second slot is running a by 8. It's not getting saturated by the 3060, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But I would like the GPU to be up there. Otherwise, I might just put the ATI card back in. That's still an oldie but goodie. Used to be, that's one of my GPUs that I hung on to, including the ATI 6000 series from my old mining days. OG. Take care.